Look at this beautiful bounty. Oh yeah. All right, let's go over all this. Let's start with this multi-tool that pops up every time I open up Temu. So these were $14.90. No, $14.19. Like everything, they're going to fluctuate in price. So they do have a lock right here. Some of the stuff locks. So there is a file, two-sided, and it's oily. This thing came quite oily. I've tried to wipe most of it off, but there's still a little bit here and there. So it has a file, a can opener, / bottle opener, I guess, another screwdriver, / bottle opener, pry bar, whatever it might be. And then this little screwdriver, dill, and like paint can lid opener, I don't know. Just a variety of tools. A serrated blade that is kind of sharp. A Phillips screwdriver, it's got a good thickness to it, so it might actually be a decent Phillips screwdriver. Lanyard pocket, or a lanyard loop, not sure. And then a spike. Just a big round spike. Hey, that side locks pretty well. So we've got that big round spike on there. Never had a multi-tool with a very large round spike. Got some measuring units on here. I did put this up against my brother's Leatherman. They're not quite exact, so you can get a rough idea of something, if you're measuring something. And then we've got these pliers. I did use them a couple times just to grab stuff out of the fire, hot stuff out of the fire. That's a pretty large hole for a wire stripper, so you'd be doing some really heavy gauge wire stripping with these. Wire cutters, I haven't tested them. I mean, they do work for just standard pliers, and then to stick the pliers down, just push the buttons and a really hard, oh, there we go. You just got to put it in just the right spot. And it collapses down pretty tidy. And it did come with a little pouch to put on your belt. You could put it sideways through a strap or a belt. All in all, for $15, I would say probably avoid these. You can get a lot better for $15. They're decent. I don't think they're worth almost $15. All right, let's move along to these windproof gloves. They are supposed to look and act like the mechanics gloves. They do have the loop on here, so you can clip them on a carabiner and throw them on your backpack. I have a side pocket on my backpack that I like to put them in. They have this very large pad right here on your knuckle. But they do feel good. This material, I'm not sure what it is, but it is really comfortable. It's really smooth. It's decent. It's got decent gription. I have used them a little bit. Not enough to say whether or not they're going to hold up like mechanics gloves. I doubt it. I mean, mechanics gloves for this kind of style is like $30-ish. These were $12.48 on Temu. I mean, for about half the price or so than mechanics gloves, I'd probably buy them again. In fact, I have another set on the way. They're not the same exact brand or style, but they're very similar. Emergency set of gloves. It is nice to have some gloves when you don't want to get your hands tore up. So maybe in some kind of bug out bag or just a cant bag. I'll probably end up taking these to the range, trying them out with some of my rifles. See how they perform. See how they can grip onto that. Some steel mags or some P mags. All right, now this was a 2-pack of what looks like a Swiss Army knife. One of these little toothpicks or tweezers came just chewed up. So this This 2-pack was $8.48, so about $4.25 a piece. $4.24 a piece if you want to get exact. Look at these things. This is how this one came, just all bent up. There's no way these tweezers would do anything. Like, they're completely useless tweezers. So I opened this one. Actually had to use a little pry bar to get some of these open. So right off the bat, that blade is pretty dull. Even if it does take an edge, I don't think it's going to last very long. I'll put an edge on it and I'll test it out. Oh, it has quite a wicked burr on there. So there's the blade. The saw, look at that. I can just run my thumb right across it. This saw is dull. You could cut through balsa wood maybe. The fish scaler is completely rounded, which isn't terrible, but the saw actually might work better as a fish scaler than the fish scaler. It's very smooth. And the scissors are butter knife dull. Like this one, this side doesn't even have an edge to it at all. Not even a burr, nothing. This one at least has a little bit of a burr. If you're lucky, you could strike a ferro rod with that. I mean, I doubt you could cut much. You certainly couldn't cut thread. Out in the field, you're not going to be cutting paper. You're going to be cutting thread, probably. Thread or bandages. This isn't going to do the job. The can opener, you probably could open a can with that. You're not going to like it. You're going to get fatigued. The can's going to be super mashed up. If this thing even stays in the frame while you're trying to cut open a can. So, not a very good can opener. The corkscrew is flexible, quite flexible. Just crappy materials. Screwdriver might work. It might twist. Needle, whatever you want to call this thing. Again, if it's an awl, which I'm guessing that's not an awl. So this little fingernail file, I mean, it has lines in it. There's no edge to it or anything. It's quite blunt up here. Here's the actual awl. So yes, again, there's zero edge on this awl. It's pretty much rounded off all the way around. Has an okay looking screwdriver, or Phillips screwdriver. Again, they were like $4 a piece. I'm gonna let my kids play with them. Although most of the stuff on here, my kids couldn't even open. And that makes me sound like the dad of the year. Here's some knives. Here's some crappy knives for you guys to play with. And now for the item that I was the most excited about in this order. And I say was excited about until I realized how small it is. The pictures made it look, I don't know, 5 or 6 inches bigger than this. I was really excited when I saw this folding saw for $12.27. And for the size, I think it's worth, less than $15, less than $13. It does fold up pretty compact into just this sleeve right here. It is relatively sturdy. And it is really sharp. This blade is really sharp. And the teeth are actually aligned. Well, they're bent one way and the other so that it actually cuts a wider groove than the blade. They did a pretty good job on this saw, on this folding saw. Now, when I was cutting some slightly bigger material, maybe 3 or 4 inches, when I was trying to push through, when I was about halfway through and I was trying to push through, the saw would, there was pressure pushing the blade together, pushing the tension off the blade. So I don't know if you can see that it is flexing there when you push. So if you're trying to push too hard, the blade does flex a little bit and then binds up. So you got to take it easy. You can't hammer through stuff. It's not a heavy duty saw, so you can't do heavy duty work. You have to just take your time and let the saw do the work. I have used other bow saws. I have a few other bow saws that are much bigger, much heavier duty, and you can just saw to your heart's content. But with this thing, you've got to be just a little easier with it. It does fold up really easily. Yeah. That thing kind of centered. It's a lot easier when it's vertical. So folds up really well, folds up really easy, unfolds really easy, slides into its sleeve, and throw it in your pack and away you go. Really a pretty handy little tool. I'm not as excited as I was, but I'm still pretty excited. I have used it a few times and I will be taking it on a few more adventures. So out of this haul, out of this Temu order, this saw, I'm going to say yes, this is a good one. Good buy. The gloves are a good buy. This multi-tool is a maybe. And these two knives are a no. I'm saying no. So yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.